here's the process I want to go through. I'm going to just draw this out. Now, when we're buying gold, it's important to know where it comes from, right? So I'm going to clear my screen here and just kind of type this sequence out. So the first thing is gold gets mined, right? It gets mined out of the ground. Okay. And so people will dig for it. I'm from Alaska, the Alaskan gold rush, the Klondike, right? Everyone found out Alaska had gold and they're like, man, that's back when gold was the Bitcoin of the day. Everyone's like, man, I'm going to get rich mining gold. Most people didn't, very few did, right? But everyone rushed up and they mined it. Today, people still mine gold. So this is where it comes from. Now you have to realize when gold gets pulled out of the ground, it's in a bunch of rocks and dirt and residue and other metals, right? So a miner, when they pull gold out of the ground, they're going to pull it out and they're going to sell it to a refiner. Okay. Now you have to realize, I'm just going to change this to miner. We'll just go with the titles here. You have to realize that every time someone touches gold in the sequence of it going from its destination into the hands of you and I, the purchasers of it, the ones that are going to store a value in it, every time someone gets involved, it increases the price. Okay. No different than anything. Like when you buy your food at Costco, there was a bunch of middlemen that touched it before it ended up on the shelves at Costco. And the more middlemen there are, the more cost you pay because each one of those guys has to get paid for touching it, for being involved. So the miner, they dig it out of the ground. They have their costs. They want to make profit. They sell it to a refiner and they sell it at a profit. Okay, so the refiner pays more for the gold than the miner actually put into it so that the miners can be profitable. The refiners, what do? The refiners, they basically are refined, they purify, they get all of the other metals and dirt and additives out so that there is just pure gold. Okay, now they're just going to get it in bricks. They're just going to get it to the point where it's refined, it's in these giant bricks. They're going to sell it. Okay, the refiner is typically going to sell it to a mint. Okay. Now, what does a mint do? A mint takes this giant brick and they turn it into little bars and rounds and coins and 1 ounces and 10 ounces and 5 grams and all of these different things. Now, they also certify the purity of it. They use something called an assay for this. They certify the purity of it, the weight of it, and make sure that it meets market standards. Okay. So the mint buys from the refiner and they mint the gold. Like when you mint the coin, you're stamping it, you're putting your little logo on it. You're creating, the coin that's the perfect circle and the perfect weight, and it's got the perfect blend of material. So that's what happens at the mint. Now, when the refiner sells it to the mint, the refiner also sells for a profit, right? So the mint pays more for the gold than the refiner paid. The refiner pays more for the gold than the miner paid. Tracking so far? Each one of these guys brought the price up. Okay, what does the mint do? Okay, the mint sells to a wholesaler, right? So this is another group. So mints don't sell to consumers. When you guys are watching the gold market, who's ever seen it's called spot, when you see the pricing and it's called spot price, okay? The only ones that buy spot is the mint, right? The mint is paying spot. They're paying literally just the value of the gold because that's all it costs them, right? Now, when a wholesaler buys it, they're going to pay more for the gold than the mint paid. The mint is not going to sell the gold to a wholesaler at a loss. They're going to make money on the deal, right? So the mint charges a little bit more. The wholesaler is required to buy gold in volume, right? So for example, in the US mint, I think the minimum to buy silver, I think is like a $5 million minimum. They're not going to sell you silver eagles as a wholesaler if you're not going to spend that much money. That's how the mint makes the money, because there's these thin little razor thin margins on it. So they're going to sell a bunch of it. They want to sell gigantic amounts. So these wholesalers, they have requirements on how much volume they're going to purchase. Okay. Now the wholesaler, when they buy it, they're going to sell it typically to a distributor. Okay. A distributor is typically going to sell it to a broker or a dealer. And then the broker or dealer is going to sell it to a end buyer. All these guys make money. Right? So the mint, they charge a little bit. The miner, they charge a little bit, right? The refiner, they charge a little bit. The wholesaler, they charge a little bit. The distributor, they charge a little bit. The broker, they charge a little bit. Then the end buyer, they pay everyone's charge. That's why when you buy gold, you're not paying spot. You're paying spot plus 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5% on top of that. So this is where gold pricing comes in. So when I was buying, I was the end buyer, and I would even go further than this. I would say there's maybe even another step. Oftentimes there might be a retailer, right? A retailer might buy from a broker. You go to a coin shop, like a physical location. A lot of times they're buying from a broker. Okay. So if I'm paying retail, I'm literally buying the most expensive gold and silver that I can buy. Why? Because all of these people had to take a fee. Okay. Now, before we get into the fee thing, let me stop my screen share here. Before we get into the fee thing. And again, if you guys have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll answer questions periodically here. Before we get into the fee thing, this is not a rant about never pay fees. Okay. Never pay fees if you're not getting value. If you're getting value, great. Like the fee is equal to the value you're getting. Awesome. Okay. So that's something I'm okay with. Now, I'm not okay with paying a fee where I don't get anything. Nobody likes that, right? So when I pay a fee, I want to make sure, okay, I'm getting value. And so if I buy gold from a retailer or from a broker and they're charging a fee, other than the commodity of gold that I can buy anywhere on the planet, what else am I getting? That's what I'm asking myself, because gold literally is a commodity. A commodity means it's the same across the board. Everyone is going to have the same price. Everyone's got the same thing. And so if you're more expensive, it's like, why am I paying you more?
If you're wondering, what does Wealth Dynamics do? How can we actually help you? Number one, if you haven't gotten a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom, grab one now. You can get that down in the comments in the video. You can get the link for that. Number two, we do a free course on Fridays on personal finance. Okay, you can also get the link for the description there too. And then finally, if you have a desire to start getting help walking through these different phases toward financial freedom, book a call with my team. Go to our website, set up a call. We're able to help out and answer questions. That's how we can help you. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you turn notifications on, and I will talk to you guys on the next video.